James sat on a cold park bench, his hands clenched around a crumpled note. The city buzzed around him. Cars honked, people laughed, life moved on. But for James, time had stopped. Tonight was supposed to be his last. He had lost everything: his job, his savings, and worst of all, his will to fight. Depression had swallowed him whole, and anxiety kept whispering that no one would care if he disappeared. Just as he stood up, ready to leave the park for the last time, a voice interrupted him. "Hey, are you okay?" James turned, startled. A man in a simple blue jacket stood beside him. His eyes were warm yet searching, as if he could see right through the pain James had been hiding. For a moment, James considered lying, saying he was fine, but something in the stranger's tone made him pause. I don't know," he finally admitted. The man sat beside him as if they were old friends. "Listen," he said, "I don't know what you're going through, but I promise you, this moment, this feeling, it won't last forever." James frowned. "How do you know that?" The man smiled faintly. "Because I was you once." James froze. The stranger continued. 5 years ago, I sat on this very bench, convinced my life was over. I had lost everything: my job, my family, my home. I felt invisible, like the world wouldn't even notice if I was gone. James felt a lump in his throat. It was as if he was hearing his own story. "But then," the man continued, "a random old man sat next to me and did exactly what I'm doing now. He asked if I was okay. He told me that pain isn't permanent, that my story wasn't over yet. That one conversation saved my life." James swallowed hard, his vision blurring. "And now," the man said, looking at him with quiet intensity, "it's my turn to pass it on." James didn't know what to say. For the first time in months, he felt seen, heard, maybe even hopeful. The stranger patted his shoulder. "You don't have to believe me right now. Just promise me one thing. Give it one more day. And if tomorrow still feels impossible, give it one more after that." James nodded, barely whispering, "Okay." The man stood up, gave him a final encouraging smile, and walked away. James never got his name, but he went home that night. He tore up the note, and the next day he chose to keep going. Years later, James stood in front of a packed auditorium, microphone in hand. He had become a motivational speaker, sharing his journey from mental health struggles to hope. And that night, James said, his voice steady, "A stranger saved my life." I never saw him again, but his words changed everything. In the crowd, an older man wiped his eyes. He wore a worn-out blue jacket. It was him. James spotted him and smiled. Without skipping a beat, he finished his speech. You never know the impact of a small act of kindness, a smile, a conversation, just asking, "Are you okay?" Because sometimes that's all it takes to save a life. This inspiring story about mental health awareness, hope in difficult times, and the importance of kindness teaches us that one kind word can prevent depression and even save a life. Checking in on someone can make a difference you may never realize. Small gestures, like a smile or a conversation, have the power to heal. Hope is contagious. When you give it, it comes back. Never underestimate the power of kindness. You never know who might be holding on by a thread. A simple, "Are you okay?" could be the reason someone chooses to keep going. If this story touched you, share it. You never know whose life it might save.